We believe that change will occur in Montgomery when ordinary people unite to do extraordinary things. And so we are super excited to be presenting to you as neighborhood associations. And we want to talk about how we can partner with you and how you can work with us to help make our community better. Um, a brief agenda of what we'll cover very quickly, but I'm going to go ahead and move through it. So our purpose today is to introduce the office to you. Again, I'm Director Keith Moore. We have our community liaison, Ms. Rochelle Tyus, or Rotyus, as many of us know her. And she's an integral part of this program that we're initiating here in our city. Um, um, the first thing that I want to stress to us is that the Office of Violence Prevention is not a law enforcement agent, but we're a community relations hub. So we're about working with the community. We're about working with schools and other entities to try to build relationships that will help with a central issue that we're needing to deal with in our community. Now, that community, this issue that we're dealing with is the reduction of gun violence. So our office works strategically to reduce gun violence throughout the city of Montgomery by promoting opportunities for our youth and strengthening our community and police relations. So we're here to work with our young people, to work with all different agencies throughout this city. As you can see on the screen, we want to partner with government agencies, nonprofits, neighborhood and faith organizations. You being the neighborhood associations, we believe you're a key part of what we're trying to do. And so we've gone through a series of meetings where we were looking for data. We were going around to different community centers. Maybe some of you made those meetings, but we were going from community center to community center and listening to the public. So we've come through some extensive listening sessions in order to help determine each community's needs, because we believe that we have to have data-driven solutions. The needs of Capitol Heights may not be the needs of JD. The needs of the community that goes to school at Carver may not be the need of the community that goes to school at Johnny Carr. So we wanted to move about the city to get data to talk about how we can reduce gun violence in our city. And so our mission encompasses being proactive in coordinating the community's response to gun violence, to domestic and intimate partner violence. You know, we just had an incident at East Chase that was a domestic and partner violence situation. And what we're finding through our research and the work of our community liaison and the data that we've been looking at is most of these incidents are going to be relationship based. We do not have an issue in Montgomery where we're just seeing random crime, where people are just running out, randomly abusing our seniors or randomly committing crimes. These are individuals who know one another. There are intimate partner situations. There are domestic situations. And so we see where the other forms of violence play into gun violence. One of the biggest things that we've been talking about, and we've been to our high schools and some of our junior high schools, we've even been to some of our private schools, Success Unlimited, to talk about how to resolve issues. Just resolving issues and conflict resolution seems to be a major issue among many of our young people in our demographic between 15 to 30. Not knowing how to resolve conflict in a proactive way, not knowing how to resolve conflict in a non-lethal manner, dealing with social media beefs and things like that. So our job is to work with law enforcement, to work with community-based entities to build up families, to build up communities, and to begin to address some of these issues that will help us curb gun violence. And so we're very, very blessed to be doing that, but it is a monumental task. It's something big that we're having to do in order to some of the gun violence. As we said earlier, we have myself as the director, Ms. Rotyus is our community liaison, and we're also looking to hire a community interventionist. Now, the job of the interventionist is to be on the streets, to identify and look at gang involvement, look at cliques in our city, and be able to work on those interpersonal conflicts and bring things down, to de-escalate situations. So this person that we're looking to hire is a person that's got to have some street credibility. They've got to be able to work in our community and be able to work on reducing situations that will lead to gun violence. So we're currently in that process. We're not there yet. We don't have a liaison in place. I mean, an interventionist in place yet. But our liaison and myself have been out putting in as much work as we possibly can, building business relationships, building strategic partnerships with the Montgomery Public School System, with the Montgomery Housing Authority, with One Place Justice Center, with other entities that are working in this type of social structure and this type of programming or nonprofit work that helps reduce gun violence. And so we're very much so concerned about where our city's going and creating a better space for us all here in the city of Montgomery. Now, again, I want to stress, we're not law enforcement. We have to work with many different agencies, but we are a community relations hub. So how are we approaching this? We're seeking to deploy what we call a group violence intervention or group violence interruption model. And GVI basically is an evidence-based approach that aims to reduce gun violence. It's us getting into communities and neighborhood groups and breaking up that cycle of gun violence. In other words, if a person has been affected by a crime or committed a crime, we want to break that cycle so that it doesn't continue and it doesn't pass on to the next generation. So our job is to present solutions and programs and social structures that will help people choose a different way and choose a better way other than turning to gun violence. In addition to that approach, we're using what we call the cradle to grave approach. And it is a coordination approach to fostering individual and group investment in solutions for individual social ills generationally. So what we're looking at, if I can just move to the next slide, just to kind of show you a picture of what we're looking at. We're looking at how do we affect each entity from birth to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, and so on. We believe that there's a great wisdom in our seniors that our young people need to have. We believe that our middle-aged parents are parenting, and we need to help them with skills that can help them be stronger parents and support them in their efforts to raise their children. We believe that we can't do this without our school system, who has our kids basically from birth to about 18. That's going to be important because whereas church and faith-based entities and things like that may not have direct contact, we know they come through our educational system. And so it's important what's happening in our schools, in our junior high schools, elementary, junior high, and high school on each level. So we're looking to work with each demographic, each decade of a person's life to make sure that we're trying to provide the best quality of life and give them the best opportunity living a successful life and not having to deal with the issue of gun violence. And we know that it is taking place now, but we are definitely working on the issue. So let me say at this point, I want to thank our mayor and our city council for allowing us to do this work. When Mayor Reed presented this program to the city council, they did partially fund us for his vision. And so we want to thank them for allowing us to do this work. I want to do a shout out for our Stop the Violence campaign, who was led by Ms. Rochelle Tyus. She's approaching a year's anniversary. And the Stop the Violence campaign has been a great awareness campaign that has been around the city of Montgomery, and it's been credited with helping to reduce gun violence in our city and bringing awareness to our community. Some of the places that we went, Ro, can you tell us some of the places that we've actually done marches?
Yes, we pretty much been on the west side, as far as Gibbs Village, Ridgecrest. We've been in the Chisholm area. We have been in, we'll be in King Hill this Saturday. We done been in numbers of neighborhoods. We pretty much do this every month. And we started last year in May, and coming up May the 22nd will be 1 year. But we've been in at least about 15, 16 different neighborhoods.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ro. And so, as she said, this week we're going to be in King Hill at 11 a.m. We'll be walking there and partnering with community leaders. And so what we try to do is get out and bring an awareness, and the Stop the Violence campaign has been major in helping bring awareness and helping with the reduction of gun violence incidents in our city. And so we work with other agencies like Operation Good Shepherd at the police department, the community leaders. We've been working with Faith in Action Alabama. We just have all kinds of partnerships. And again, trying to become that hub, because what we're finding is a lot of people are doing a lot of things, but we don't have a focused attention from all the nonprofits out there. And so we're doing our best to try to become that hub and start to pull all the resources together with the goal of curbing gun violence. So we've got a plan, short-term, mid-term, and long-term that we're working on. We just had a team in here from Harvard University that is helping us with our strategic plan. So we're going to be on the ground, getting the work done and working on reducing crime in our city. So we got several other partnerships. I won't go through all of those, but different partnerships and agencies that we're looking at: Advanced Peace, Cure Violence, Community Violence Intervention, other organizations that are doing the work. And one of the things that the development team did was they went out and they looked at other cities, Newark, New Jersey, Milwaukee, other places that had violence prevention or neighborhood services offices that were dealing with the issue of gun violence. And so we've looked at cities of our comparable size. Mayor Reed commissioned a team to do that. And we've looked at other cities, and we're looking at techniques that are from other places, but we're tailoring them to what we need here in Montgomery. And that's why we did the community roundtables to hear what Montgomery had to say about reducing crime in our neighborhoods. And so we're continuing to grow, continuing to work. So how can you be involved when we talk about community involvement? Well, one of the things that we recommend is that our citizens use the P3 Tips app. Now, what is the P3 Tips app? It is an automated way. It's an app on your phone that if you are a smartphone user, iPhone or Android, if you're a smartphone user, you can download this P3 Tips app. And that's what it's called, P3 Tips. And what you can do is you can anonymously report things that are happening in your neighborhood. You can anonymously report crimes. Your name is never used. It's not tracked to your cell phone. You can report things and give information of the things that law enforcement and other agencies need to take a look at. Now, let me stress, this is not a 911 instrument. You cannot use this app to have immediate need for a crime being committed. This is for long-term things. This is for things that we see happening in our neighborhood we want to see improvement on. But this is not an immediate emergency situation. You'll still need to dial 911 if you have an immediate emergency where you need police or fire and rescue attention. Our community policing division, their job is to build relationships with the community, to work with the community. They should be attending your neighborhood association meetings. If you have a neighborhood association meeting and you don't see your community policing presence, you need to reach out to the Community Policing Bureau and let them know that you want them in your neighborhood association meetings. The importance of that is they'll give you information and statistics on what's happening in your neighborhood. They'll be able to address certain incidents. If you hear of incidents in your neighborhood, they can discuss those occurrences with you and provide you updates and information on what the Montgomery Police Department is doing to help resolve those situations. I've listed the name of the Bureau Commander, Lieutenant Willie Stewart, on the screen. He can be reached at 334-625-4800. That's 334-625-4800. Or you can email him at wstewart@montgomeryal.gov. wstewart@montgomeryal.gov. You can also reach your Sergeant Nichols. She'll be reached at the same number, 334-625-4800. That's 334-625-4800. Or you can email her at ynichols@montgomeryal.gov. And so each sector of our city, I want to stress this to you too, has precincts. So we're divided into 4 precincts. So whatever part of town you're in, we have our north, south, east, and west precincts. So you have direct officers that are assigned to your area. In the north precinct, that's if you're in the northern area of the city, you'll be dealing with Corporal Cooper. dial that same number, 625-4800. In our East Precinct is Officer Thomas. Our West Precinct is Officer Wright, that's Kendrick Wright. And then our South Precinct is Corporal K. Adams. So those are the officers that are assigned to different precincts. So depending upon where you live in the city, you can dial that 625-4800 number, and they will be glad to come out and discuss with you any concerns or any needs you may have in your immediate community. And so we again believe the change will occur in Montgomery when ordinary people unite to do extraordinary things. So it's going to take all of us being a part of the solution. So our numbers are listed here on screen. If you want to contact myself or Ms. Rotias, our numbers are on the screen. You can reach me at 334-625-2423, 334-625-2423, or you can simply email violenceprevention@montgomeryal.gov, violenceprevention@montgomeryal.gov. You can also reach Ms. Rotias, our community liaison, if you wanted to come out to your neighborhood association meeting or any community meeting that you have. You can call Ms. Tyus and we can see how to get you scheduled for a direct visit. But you can reach her at 334-625-3423. That's 334-625-3423. And then you can also email her at rtyus@montgomeryal.gov. rtyus@montgomeryal.gov. Okay, and I think that's all that I need to share with you at this time. And we will open up, Ms. Cynthia, for questions. If you have any questions that you would like to ask at this time.
I have a quick question. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You say short-term, medium, and long-term goals. What exactly are your short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals? And when you say short-term, are you talking about 4 weeks? Are you talking about 3 weeks? And medium, are you talking about 2 months, 3 months? Could you go into that? What your goals are for short-term, medium, and long-term?
Okay, so we haven't done a direct release yet on exactly what our plan is. We're reviewing our plan now. As I mentioned, in conjunction with that, we just completed a study with our research team from Harvard University. And so those plans that we have now are in review with our mayor's office, and we'll be presenting those to our city council so that we can chart the course of the office. But so I'm not really at liberty to release all of that to you yet, but we'll be glad to come back and share with you once our plan is approved. But it's going to involve really, when we talk short-term, long-term, we're talking about changing institutions. So it's going to take time. We're talking about working with families, working with 501c3s. So this isn't a thing where, again, where we're going to see an immediate thing that's going to take place quickly, but it's going to take time and building those strategic partnerships and programming. So when we talk short term, we're talking about in the next, what we hope to accomplish in about 6 months, and then approximately a year from that, and then having everything smooth out and trying to build in institutions that are going to be long lasting and long standing. We're talking with our Montgomery Public School System about things like Dads on Duty and bringing support by our male members in our community to just help with policing the hallways, being there when classes are changes. These are times when things can get chaotic when you got so we're looking at different programs that we can work with institutions on for them to build into their structure that are going to be long-term solutions. So we'll be able to share more directly once we get through the review of our plan, post-research, and make sure that we can get a good solid direction moving ahead. Now, what we've done thus far is we've been doing our community walks. We've been on the streets of Montgomery. We've been working with the Montgomery Housing Authority. We've been working with doing direct referrals on incidents because, as you know, well, you probably don't know, but as the offices come up, things have started to flow into us. So we've been able to do referrals and get people the assistance that they need in their local communities.
So basically, you're talking about years then, years from now as our long-term then. Not anything that we could put our hands on now. You're talking about years then. correct?
Immediate, yeah, it's going to take time for us to spin things up, yeah, because again, it's not policing per se, it's changing social structures. When we talk about the issues that we're seeing, conflict resolution, how do we get to young people between 15 and 30 to start instructing in the way of conflict resolution? That's going to take time, building community relationship and getting the people who are the most affected to the table to even talk to us about how to help make their lives better. So yes, it's going to be a work that's going to take time.
So and I really don't mean to hog the thing. So
No, you're fine.
our fear of walking in Shakespeare Park and stuff, so that kind of stuff is off the table. You're talking about something way down the line, but we have immediate concerns right now that's concerning to us, and that doesn't seem to be a part of your objective for right now.
Again, we work along with the police department and other law enforcement agencies. We're not law enforcement, we're programs. We are working as community-based entities. So when you talk about walking Shakespeare Park, then that's something you probably need to talk to the Montgomery Police Department about right now, if it's an immediate need. So the police department has a responsibility for that safety and do those types of things. But what we're to address is character issues, their family issues, there are things of that nature that are going to take much more time that an arrest won't necessarily resolve. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but I don't see how that's gonna. Okay, I'm retired, and I don't see how your office is really going to help me, because like I said, I'm retired. You know, I retired and I live here in Montgomery, and so you know, it might help my grandkids, but I don't see how it's going to help me. But I'll move on and let somebody else ask a question.
Well, let me just say this in closing and addressing you. When you consider quality of life, and you consider that we've got parents out here who are having parenting issues raising their children, and we try to help them with raising their children, then that's going to have a direct effect and an immediate effect on how people function in our school systems, how people function in other entities in our society. We have to have a direct contact with them. We have to begin to work on it somewhere. Now, if you really look at this thing, we're talking about change that has happened over years. Violence is not a program. Violence is not something that just started happening last week or started happening at your retirement or my birth. It's been going on since the beginning of time. So we've got to work on it and continue to work on it. But this was here before we were born. It's going to be here after we die. We have to work at reducing it and giving people better solutions. So again, we're not policing. Policing has its place. There's a place for bad actors who insist on doing bad things. What we're trying to do is to interrupt the cycles and break the cycles of people continuing in the lifestyle of of committing crime and doing gun violence. So it is long-term work. And again, we have short-term goals that we're going to be working on, but it's going to be programmatic. It's going to take time.
Anybody else got questions? If you do, be sure to unmute yourself. Anybody?
I mean, we're here to talk.
Yeah, we got
Some in the chat box.
Oh, let me see.
Yeah, somebody wrote something in the chat box.
Oh yeah, you mentioned the Crime Stoppers app. I assume you're partnering with them. They've had a good conflict resolution program in the schools, and that's true. I remember when he was presenting that. Go ahead, Keith. Sorry.
Yes, we've been in touch with Crime Stoppers. We're aware of their program in the schools, but there's been a number of programs that, you know, during the pandemic and things like that, these things were discontinued. And that's something that most of us don't really consider. During this time of pandemic, everything has changed. The social structures and social programs that supported our kids have all been shut down. So what I like to say is we're dealing from a little bit of pandemic lag and pandemic PTSD. The things that were there to support our kids have not been there. because of them being out of school, and then we're coming back in and just trying to adjust to all of that. But when we look at last year, it was a tough year educationally, and the programs that we were doing to help support our kids were not there because our kids were at home. They were doing other things. And so it's gonna take, ramping it back up. Yes, they do have a great program. There's other programs out there that we're looking at to try to get them back in place and make sure we're working to help give our kids a better opportunity at being successful. Sorry, I can't hear you, sir. Unmute.
James, I think you need to unmute or.
But what the things you just mentioned, but wouldn't that be a part of the short-term goals? I mean, since we don't have any, I mean, and like you said, ramping things back up because of the pandemic. But wouldn't that be a part of the short-term goals to address those issues?
So I guess what you're saying, Reed, is you're talking time frames. Is that what you're asking about? Is time frames 3 months versus 6 months? Because yes, but understand we have probably 10 days left in this school year. We've got to work through the summer to get those things back in place for the upcoming school year. There's not going to be a whole lot that we can do in 10 days programmatically. Now we've been to McIntyre, we've been to our junior high schools. We're working with the public school system, school security. We've done training. We've done an in-service with our principals and administrators. So we're on the ground already working. Those are things that we're already doing, but there's still build out that has to happen with those things. So if we're talking about, if you're holding me to what's short term and what's long term, we're doing immediate actions right now. We're still building out for things we need to accomplish and setting more goals. So yes, we've been in the school system. We've worked with our school security. We work with with Montgomery Police Department school security. We're already doing those things.
All right, I'll yield the floor.
Thank you, Keith, for those answers. Anybody else? I see Counselor Orlando Mitchell has joined us. Thank you for doing so, Orlando. We appreciate that.
What neighborhood you in, Mr. Reed?
He's in Rowan.
I'm in District 6, Oronde's district.
What neighborhood?
Fairfield, Brubaker Estates.
Okay.
Fairmont Downs.
All right.
Well, okay, if we don't have any more questions, I appreciate you so much, Keith and Rob, both of y'all being here. I know everybody has been glad to hear the information. We're going to have you back, or probably after you go to City Council and present the plan, and we can talk about it some more. If everybody's done, thank you. We have one call-in person that needs to send us an email. It says call-in user 2. Because we don't have your name as we're signing in, and everybody else, we've got names. I don't know who the Anderson family is. You need to send us an email to let us know so that you can get training credit. Otherwise, thank you guys for participating. This is the largest attendance we've had in a while. I appreciate that. I'm glad to know y'all are interested in this program, and thank you so much. And grant information is coming any day now, okay? Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Did they? Yeah.